Esau was going to be ruling, and then after that you was going to have it to where the Israelites, they was going to be ruling, and they was going to be ruling in righteousness, man. Okay, we can read about that within the book of Ezekiel, the 36th chapter. Was it 36 or 37? Okay, where the Lord talks about how He's going to return us into our own land. Okay, we was going to have the Lord's statutes, commandments. In fact, I'll get that at the latter part of this setting. Okay, I'll get that at the latter part of this setting, but briefly to go through it. Okay, we was going to be sitting in our own land, having the Lord's statutes, commandments of the Most High impregnated within our minds, doing righteously, and thereby the whole world was going to return back into a state of being a Garden of Eden. And that's the whole entirety of the world, because the mechanics of how this world works and the Lord's statutes, commandments that He's put within this book. That's what we know this is a living book, man. Okay, how the whole earth, what's up? How this whole earth functions? How to treat cattle, how to treat grass, how to treat trees. All of them different things is spoken about within our law and how to manage those things. Okay, you're talking about the land Sabbath, how you're supposed to farm a particular landmass for a period of time, and then you give it rest after a period of time. Well, guess what? That's within our scriptures. But Esau don't do that. That's why the whole fullness, the fatness of the earth, it ain't in its what's the word I'm looking for? It ain't in its prime, man. It ain't in its tip top shape. Okay, it's in its dwindling, and that goes back onto the scriptures, where the scripture says that when he was going to be ruling, okay, or wherever Esau was going to be farming, it was going to be a barren land. Okay, that's how we know it's this man that's in rulership right now. That's Esau, because the scripture, when you go back onto the curse of Cain, it says that wherever Cain was going to till the ground, wherever Esau was going to till the ground, it wasn't going to yield the strength of that ground to him, because he's naturally a carnal individual, and he doesn't go respectively towards the Lord's commandments of the Most High. Because dealing with the Lord's commandments of the Most High means that everything that you're using in its proper, natural, and its spiritual form, and it was going to yield its strength unto you. Okay, it's back within the book of Obadiah, the first in the third verse. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee." Okay, so he believes that he's just going to continue on perpetually, not receiving the judgment that the Most High has prescribed to him, right, for putting these Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in hardcore captivity, right, destroying the whole entirety of the earth. And when the scripture says here within the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, that the earth mourneth and languisheth, right, and it's, let's read it real quick. That's a real fact that's happening out here. Okay, Isaiah 24:1.
And then without houses and stuff.
Right, Isaiah 24:1, it says, behold, I go to the point, the second verse, 24:2, Isaiah 24:2, it says, and it shall come to, it shall be, no, that's not it. Right, Isaiah 24:4, okay, it says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, it languisheth, right, away, and the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is also defiled underneath the inhabitants thereof, and we know that as the ruler is, so are the people, okay, because they have transgressed the laws. So one of the things that they do is transgress the laws, but dealing with the earth and the resources of the earth, dealing with cattle, okay, dealing with vegetation, okay, there's laws within the scriptures to how those things was going to be managed, and the scripture says that they've transgressed all the laws. We know that the Esau is the one that's he's just the one that's going against every single law that the Most High has put forth. No matter how abominable that it was going to be, Esau's just going up against it. Okay, and dealing also with the laws of the land, he's going against all of those different laws of the land. So now you're just in this world right now with this genetically modified food, okay, with poisons within the water, okay, with all types of chemicals within the air. Right, just living in a dead state, all right. But the Most High wouldn't have it so. The Most High is going to destroy the power structure that's there, and He's going to set up something new that's going to be dwelling in righteousness. Okay, that's going to be existing in righteousness. Okay, so in the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, and this is the 5th verse. It says, "The earth also is defiled underneath the inhabitants thereof." Okay. Because they have transgressed laws, and they've changed ordinances, and broken the everlasting covenant. Okay, therefore has the curse devoured the earth. Now, when you're talking about the missiles coming and hitting this place, all people can think about is their own immediate needs. Okay, they think about their own immediate needs. But see, here's what happens. You go to where the Most High allows this hell to be unleashed upon this place, and these ICBM nuclear missiles hit, boom, 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 boom. Okay, you got all the amount of people that's gonna die as a result of that. Well, on the long term, the earth is gonna be rejuvenated. Okay, in the long term, all of these GMO crops that Esau's brought forth into the earth, they're gonna be destroyed. In the long term, the same people that has allowed this death to be the way of life within this society, and in fact the scripture says America was going to be the shadow of death. That's within the Psalms, right? The valley of the shadow of death. Okay, the people that have allowed all of this death and hell to be allowed to be the way of living within this society, they was going to be destroyed. Okay. So although it might seem as a bad thing, it's actually a good thing. And the people that was going to be of that understanding, they was going to be of the elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, and they was going to rejoice at the appearing of the Lord, and they was going to rejoice at the destruction of the Lord was going to put upon this place, not only because it was retribution, but also too that the earth was going to be returned into its natural state. It was going to be returned into its natural form. Okay? I know there's a lot said in there. Right? Obadiah 1. And this is halfway through the 3rd verse. It says, whose habitation is high, that saith, you shall bring me down to the ground. And that's more, that's nowhere more explicit than it is in America, because they say, well, what army is so great as our army? Okay, who's going to bring down the American army? The same thing goes for NATO. Who's going to bring down NATO? Who's going to bring us down? That's the sentiment that they have. But see, the scripture talks about how the Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, and ultimately, it ain't going to be these different nations that's going to bring these Esau down. Ultimately, it's going to be the Lord too that's going to be, really, it's going to be the Lord's going to bring him down, man. And that's spoken about here within the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. Let me get it right quick. Okay, so Isaiah 63, we're finishing Isaiah 24. Let's go to Isaiah 63. Okay, Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, and this is dealing with the Lord himself here. Okay, Isaiah 63:1, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom again? I wonder what this Edomite people are. I wonder who they are. Okay, because they're going to get a great judgment. Alright? It says, with thy garments from Bozrah. Okay, that's one of the principal cities out there within Edom. Okay, with thy garments from Bozrah, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. This is the response that he got. It says, I that speak in righteousness. Right? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And the response he got was like, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the winefat? I've trodden the winepress alone, and of the people that was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I'll stain my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So when the Lord's coming there to redeem his people, these 12 tribes, okay, as we read in the book of was it Matthew the 1st chapter and the 21st verse, where the scripture says that she shall bring forth a son and he shall save his people. Well, in that day when he's bringing forth the salvation of his people, he's also going to be bringing about the judgment of this nation of Edom that's gone about destroying the whole entirety of the whole earth. That's gone about breaking the everlasting covenant. That's gone about defiling the whole earth with GMOs. Okay, defiling the whole earth with bringing about death. Right, whatever conceivable way that they could bring forth death, that they've done it. Okay, they've done it. Okay, so the Most High is going to put a stop to it, and he's going to put a new righteous order, as we're going to see within the book of Ezekiel, the 36 or 37 chapter. I forget which one. I'll get to it when I get to it. Right, as we're going to see from those scriptures, it's going to be beautiful. Okay, so let's finish up here within the book of Obadiah, and the point I wanted, if I hit it. Okay, yeah, so this is the point I wanted. It's the book of Obadiah, the 4th verse. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down. Okay, right, saith the Lord. Okay, so when Esau was going to put his space shuttles out there, okay, he's going to be balling, okay, he's going to be on top of his game at peak form. That's when the Lord was going to bring him down, okay? Because he has reached the pinnacle of his height, right? And whenever you reach the pinnacle of a mountain, well, the only place to go is to go down. That's why you always got this sentiment about returning wherever Edomite Empire is, okay, whether it be Britain, whether it be, but most importantly, the United States, their whole sentiment, their whole rhetoric is to return it back onto the great days. But here's the thing about the great days. The great days is when you had these Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in captivity. We can't go back to those days. So whatever world you're going to be living in, it ain't going to be back to when you had these people in captivity. Because what? Because the Lord ain't going to have it no more so. So what's going to happen is they're going to try to set forth their RFID chip, okay, which is like another way of a form of captivity. And in so doing, right, for the mercy of his people's sake, the Lord was going to send his son to save them. Okay? Let's go back onto the scriptures, the book of Job, the 20th chapter. And this is now this is now the 7th verse. Like I said, the point which I was hitting, okay, which I was running parallel to the book of Revelations, the 18th chapter is running about the 24th verse. But you know, we can go through the whole chapter because the whole chapter is good. Okay, so Job the 20th chapter, and this is the 7th verse. It says, "Yet shall they perish forever like their own dung." Right, and they which have seen him shall say, "Where is he?" Okay, so when Esau is completely destroyed, okay, the people that are going to be up on the face of the earth are going to be saying, "Where is he?" Now, again, we can see this within the book of Obadiah. Okay, and I go to the book of Obadiah, and this is the 18th verse. So Obadiah 18, it says, "The house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph shall be a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau." That cuts that whole Cornelius was an Edomite thing. It says none of Esau's house is going to be, none, not zero, not one. Okay? None of Esau's house was going to be remaining. Okay? Let's read it again. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Okay, and they shall kindle in them, and they shall devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. Okay, so when you see in here this in the book of Job, the 20th chapter, okay, this is going to be what's known as an act of extermination. Okay, which is going to be played out after Esau serves his hardcore 1,000 years of captivity. Now I want to see if I can get that within the book of Revelations. I forget where the exact scripture is though. Forget what nation it is, but ultimately what you're gonna have is Esau is gonna be doing a double payback, okay, for all the evil that he's brought upon the Negroes, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. Okay, so after he's served that judgment, all right, after he's served that punishment, okay, all that's gonna be left for him, right, is to be wiped off of the face of the earth. Right, he's gonna be made extinct, and that's an important thing, because when you really understand, okay, what Esau was created for, to be the wicked, which is to be the wicked, then you understand when you have a completely righteous nation ruling, the need for the wicked is no more. Okay, that is to say, when you read the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter, you're not only reading about the Israelites having the Lord's such commandments are impregnated within their mind. Okay, you're not only reading about them conducting themselves for perpetuity, right, in righteousness. You're also reading about you're also reading about the no more need for Esau. That's what you're also reading about. I forget I don't know how to put it in better words than that. Okay, you're reading about the lack of a need for Esau. Okay, because now you got this completely righteous rule that is never going to be seduced into doing wickedness. Okay, that need for the wicked is not going to be anymore. So we're going to have Esau just running about there, causing havoc amidst the heathen nations? No, we're going to destroy Esau. Esau's going to be wiped off of the face of the earth. That's why the scripture is saying here, the eye that also that have seen him shall see him no more. Okay? And ultimately, they're going to be saying that, where is this man that made the whole earth to tremble? And that's spoken about within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. And I could get that right quick. It's the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter.
They made it very much pedestrian.
Okay, Isaiah 14. And, is it Isaiah 14? Yeah, Isaiah 14 and 21. But let me read Isaiah 14 and 21. I'll start from the 9th verse, and that's the spirit, because I started on this scripture and now we made the whole full circle back to it. Okay? So it says, hell from beneath thee is moved to meet thee at thy coming. So that's talking about a fast descent back down into the Sheol, into the grave. Okay? That's a fast descent back down onto that base level. So here it is, you got Esau on the top levels, they're the bankers, okay, they're the managers, okay, they're the managing directors, they're doing it, they're balling, okay, they're doing good, okay, and their descent back into that base level caveman, okay, is gonna be fast, man, okay, it's gonna be fast. That's why you got this whole rhetoric that's been conjured up, this whole racial divide that's been conjured up. Because Esau is seeing that his kingdom is falling. He's seeing that his power that he had before, his influence that he had before. Okay, right? The fear that these different nations had about him before, that is dwindling ever faster and faster each day. Okay, right? The whole general rhetoric towards Esau has gone more negative than it has gone. It's soured over these last 10, 20 years. Okay. And the power that he could just go out there, beat a Jacob and just go bouncing, that's no more anymore. Okay, because hey, Jake now speaks the same language that he does. You know, Jake be working out, and you know, we was always more dominant nation. Okay, but see, when you're coming from when you've been brought over by way of the transatlantic slave trade, and you're in a completely different environment, you're just gonna do whatever the master says. Okay, but now you go to where now Jake is pretty much on the same level playing field in terms of what is accessible in terms of knowledge. Okay, because there was a time when Esau wouldn't even have you read the scriptures, man. Now you're reading the same scriptures, and Jake is coming back onto that same level. Now you're seeing Esau crash coursing back down to the ground, man. Okay, so it says there, and the noise of thy vials, okay, and the noise of thy vials, right, furthermore. And it says, the worm is spread underneath thee, right, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? And that's like a rhetorical question. It's like, how art thou fallen from the ground, O Lucifer? This is talking about the light bearer, Esau. How art thou fallen from the how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, O son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, right, which didst weaken the nations? That's a rhetorical question. That's why it's got an exclamation mark there, right? Because really it's like, yo, you did all of this wickedness, okay? Raped, robbed and murdered, right? Left, right, and center, right? You destabilized, destructured, okay? Nations, families, nations and countries, governments. You've done all of that. And after all of that, you still had the so-called mental mindset to think that you was going to rule perpetually? Of course not. Okay? The Most High has recorded all of this wickedness, starting first and foremost with the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, whom these Edomites have put in hardcore captivity. Okay, they put them in hardcore slavery. Okay, where if the scripture says within the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter on the 9th verse, going to show you that the Most High deals with vengeance and balance. Okay, the scripture says that what? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So when you go into from a position of being a banker, an elite banker, all the way up into the position where the Most High puts you right up on servitude underneath those same people, as pursuant to the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter on the 2nd verse, okay? That's falling down to the ground, man. And then hence this rhetorical question. How are that falling down to the ground, O Lucifer, that didst weaken the nations? In other words, did you really think you was going to go out there and weaken these nations, steal all of this oil, rape, rob, and murder, right, and destroy the people, the Negro, Hispanics, Native Americans, going hand in hand with the so-called black women, right, to go into them abortion clinics and kill all of them babies? Okay, did you really think that you was going to get away with that? And of course, you wasn't going to get away with that, because the scripture talks about how that the Most High is long-suffering, but he's always going to be executing judgment. In other words, that is to say, people are always going to think that the Lord ain't going to bring about the judgment, because the Lord is long-suffering. He will let you play the fool, okay? And the scripture also says that what? Pride goeth before destruction. So here it is, his pride has been elevated to the highest point, because he thinks he's got away with the atrocities that he's done against his people. But the Most High says, counterwise, you're gonna be destroyed for that wickedness you've done. Okay? He says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I'll exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, and I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So they're going out there into the Jews. They're going out there, they've declared themselves as the people of the Most High. Right? They've gone beyond just declaring themselves the Most High. They've said that they're gods now. Right? Because now they're genetically engineering stuff. Okay, they've understood certain things that the Most High has allowed them to have. Right now they think they're on the same level playing field that is the Most High. Okay? It says that I'll send into the sides. I'll send above the heights of the cloud. I'll be like the Most High, rather. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, right, and to the sides of the pit. And that's not talking about some fiery, flaming place where you burn perpetually. This is talking about the grave, a low position, a pit. Okay, so you can understand. Here it is, you was on the height of a dictator. Okay, you was on the height of a manager. Now you're just gonna go straight down to the pit, man. That's what the scripture's talking about there. This is talking about a group of people that was gonna be ruling in the last days. They was gonna be on high status. And that's what Esau is. That's why he walks around with great pride, because he's on high status right now. And he's gonna go straight down into that level of a pit, man. Into the levels of a worm. Okay, he's gonna be beneath a worm. Okay? It says, I will ascend into the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Okay? Right? And it says, and they that see thee shall not really look upon thee. See, if this was spiritual demon saying, you think you're going to narrowly look upon the spiritual demon saying, this is about a group of people, man. A nation of people, right, who have proudly taken everything that they've wanted